Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum dear viewers, welcome to another episode of The Great Exit, the program that discusses issues of all people's concerns life, whoever they are, wherever they are. And please do ring in and answer, put your viewpoints across, and also do answer any other situations that we discussed today. I would like to mention last week we had a technical fault, and I apologize for that, and that was that we couldn't actually hear the volume of our phone lines. So please, those people who did ring in and didn't get through, please do try again this session. Well, we looked at teenagers for a couple of weeks now.
Yes.
And we've covered, alhamdulillah, a lot of topics.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to kind of conclude by the end of today.
Yeah.
So I've still got a couple of more topics to go through.
Yes.
Thing I want to look at first is, a few weeks ago, it was said on the BBC news that there were over 300,000 teenagers that had run away up and down the country. So this is nationally.
Run away from where?
Run away from home.
Running from home?
Yeah.
Oh.
So 300,000 teenagers have run away from home between the years of 2012 and 2013. This was the actual statistics. So that is huge. That is scary.
That is really scary.
And we are in Manchester at this moment in time.
Yes.
And it said around 20,000 teenagers had run away from home just in Manchester alone. So it just goes to show
20,000?
Yeah, 20,000. It goes to show how relevant this program
and that's
is.
in 1 year?
Between 2012 and 2013.
So that's 1 year?
Yeah, between that period, yeah. So clearly
That's
things
sad.
are not working out. So what I wanted
very
to...
sad.
One of the questions I wanted to ask you was, if the statistics are so high, okay, and these teenagers are actually leaving home, something's not working.
Yeah.
What's making them leave home in the first place?
Well, you know, like you said, things are not working for them. You know, there's certainly things are going wrong in their house. There could be multiple reasons. One of them could be like if, for example, if they're scared of something really bad that they have done, and they think that if they come back to their house and they don't know how to face their parents. Again, like what I've said in the previous programs, if you're friendly towards your children, then obviously they would look up to you, and they would know that there is a way out. Even if I've done something really terrible and something really bad, I still can come back and talk to my father, even though I know that he's going to be very angry, or my mom, she's going to be very angry. But even then, there still would be a way out, and I would be able to, you know, do something about it. That's one of the things that, and the other thing could be the problems that usually people have in their families. You know, for example, like you know, parents with each husband and wife with each other, the relationship of them together. They cannot cope with their relationship, and they have differences, and all of this has a devastating effect on the children's lives.
So you're saying they're constantly quarreling, for example?
Quarreling and fighting and everything. So sometimes they get so fed up with these things that they want to run away. You know, so if the parents are a role model for their children, then they need to realize that whatever they do, that has a severe amount of significance on the lives of their children. So they need to be very careful. They need to make the right choices, and they need to understand that whatever they do will have an effect on their children, positively or negatively. Yeah.
What amazes me is, I mean, a couple of topics that we're going to look at today is role models and social media. But you know, in spite of having right the role models that the teenagers tend to have in today's day and society, and also the vast amount of social media that we have, again, you know, it's huge number of teenagers, and we're talking about nationally. So you know, obviously it's not just a problem for our communities.
But sorry to cut you through.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, like, you said these teenagers run away from their houses.
Yeah.
But as I understand, there are cameras everywhere. The police is everywhere. Where do they go? Where do they hide? Do you have any information about that? Where do?
Yeah, generally speaking, majority of them do come back, but it's them running away. They could go to the friend's house, for example. They can go to a relative house. It could be at days at time. It could be weeks at time. It can be even kids who then sleep on the streets in rough. There's been situations where kids have actually hid and gotten into hotels, sneaked in wherever there's an empty room. So the problem is that, clearly, like you've said, that they're not happy at home. If they haven't got some kind of a secure environment, or like you're saying, there's issues going on, then to them it feels like that's the last resort, that they need to run away. What I wanted to say next to you is, MOLANA, I think our community, a lot of the people seem to think that, teenagers, we're not that interested. It's not such a big deal, it's not an issue. Clearly don't want to talk about it, it's not that interesting. But I think, how many of those teenagers or those who run away are Muslims, for example? So I think they need to address the issue that this is a growing problem. And in another 10, 15, 20 years' time, it's going to get worse. So I think we need to identify, because these teenagers are growing in this type of environment, and we need to look at these issues. So what would you say to our community, the people who don't take, for example, teenagers that seriously?
Well, I think all parents take their children seriously, but it's just that they're not doing the right thing. They don't know what to do. They do not know how to deal with a situation where something goes wrong with their children. How are they supposed to react? Again, they have to be very friendly with their children, and I don't think we can put the blame completely on the parents themselves. We have to address the issue with the youngsters themselves as well. The youngsters,
I was going to say, but it's still a kind of a taboo concept for them, isn't it?
It should not be a taboo. It should not be a taboo, because taboo, you're not discussing the issues. For example, if you have a problem in your family, something that you cannot handle yourself as a husband and wife, you're constantly quarreling and everything. Our communities have elders in their society, but sometimes elders mess it up, Instead of solving the problem themselves, they tend to mess it up. But I think it's because of the level of expectancy that they expect a lot from their husband. Oh, there's a phone coming. Can you?
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Hello.
Yeah, what's your name and where you calling from?
जी आवाज आपकी थोड़ी कम आ रही है।
जी आप फरमाएं, बोलिए। आपकी आवाज आ रही है, आप फरमाएं। आप कहाँ से बोल रहे हैं?
मैं जाम साहब से जिला नवाबशाह से रसूल बख्श शर्मा में मेरा।
माशाअल्लाह, पाकिस्तान से बोल रहे हैं?
जी जाम साहब से।
माशाअल्लाह। क्या सवाल क्या है आपका?
जी
आपका सवाल क्या है, क्या पूछना चाहेंगे?
हम प्रोग्राम जो है सवाल पूछना चाहेंगे कि जो है सालात हाजरा के मौके पे जो है मिल्लत तशरीगाल से।
जी
हेलो।
जी सुन रहे हैं आपकी बात, कीजिए बात। आप क्या फरमा रहे हैं?
हम यही कहना चाह रहे हैं कि जो है हजरत इमाम महदी अलैहिस्सलाम की गिबत को कितना अर्सा हो चुका है?
जी ये आपका ये सवाल है कि इमाम ज़माना अलैहिस्सलाम को गायब हुए हुए कितना अरसा हो गया, ये फरमा रहे हैं?
जी
चलो, तकरीबन 1000 साल से ऊपर हो गया, 1100 साल तकरीबन हो गए हैं। जी जनाब।
Okay, thank you for your call. Unfortunately, it wasn't relevant to the topic, but you've answered it.
Yeah, he's a gentleman from Sindh, and his question was that Imam Zamana is in Ghaib, but he's not here. So how long it has been? So I've told him that it's about 1100 years. So that was his basic question, and So So as I was saying,
Yeah.
that then if, for example, there are lots of things going on in the families, if they cannot handle it themselves, then they need to look up to elders. But
Yeah.
again, sometimes when third persons get involved into your disputes and arguments, things get worse. So what you need to do is you need to sit down and talk to yourselves as husband and wife and say that, look, we have teenagers, we have kids at home, and for the sake of our kids, we have to revisit our issues. I mean, the things that are not working with us, with each other. We need to do things that are good. For example, there's so many things that they don't go in details. For example, well, the husbands have rights, the wives have rights, in Islam and Sharia. For example, in our communities, what happens is that we think if we have a wife at home, it is a duty to cook, it is a duty to take care of her kids, and that's what Islam requires her to do, right? For those people, maybe it's going to be something new, but you cannot force your wife, and you cannot even ask her to bring you a glass of water if she's not willing to do that. It's haram. You cannot force her to do anything. And even if she's feeding milk to your children, she can ask for compensation. She can ask for money for that. I'm breastfeeding your children, so I need money for that. She has the right to do that.
Sure.
On the other hand, a husband has also got rights.
Yeah.
For example, he comes home and he expects his wife to greet him in a way that a wife should greet him. Things like that, so many rights that husband has got, so many rights that women have got. I mean, that's a different program that we're going to do.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I just want to say that for the kids' sake, they should realize that things are going wrong, so they should fix it themselves.
Okay, so basically,
rather than
So basically, what you're saying is that the husband and the wife are clearly maybe having quarrels, and they may not understand in terms of their own issues where they stand within the marriage. However, it has a great impact on the children growing up.
Yeah.
So it's really down to how much time are you actually investing in your children, how much real time are you sitting and speaking with your children, because
that's another issue. You see, people, what they're doing is, sorry to cut you through, but that's what's happening. They're so busy with their lives. They go out and they're working somewhere, or a business or whatever. They said that if we are earning like about 3,500, which would be enough sufficiently, which is sufficient for people at least in the north, for a month or something, they would say no, we want 10,000 pounds. So they would want to work more and more and more.
Yeah.
But the thing is that you're not spending time that you should be spending with your children. So what happens is you're missing out on your children. Your children need you at home.
Exactly.
And so sorry, yeah.
Yeah, no, so I was saying, I mean, it's really, I think each person has a certain responsibility towards the other member of the family. So if you're, for example, a husband, okay, and then you have a certain rights, like you've said, but also a certain amount of time you spend as a husband, as a father, as a son, and so forth. So children, obviously, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving you children, and it's a ni'mat. You need to not neglect these children as they're growing up. They have their needs, and you need to address them, rather than, quite rightly you're saying, that working, thinking financial need is the only need. It's not a financial need. You may be bogged down so much into working day and night, and nowadays in this society, even both the husband and the wife are working. So the kids are growing up where they needed that attention and they're not getting it. So by the time you make X amount of pounds financially, there may not be kids around that who might then communicate with you. So I mean, moving on to looking at the role models. I mean, in this day and society, and with vast amount of social media that's around that we're going to look at, what is a role model? What is a role model? A role model is when the kids, when they're growing up, they look upon that particular person to think, right, you know what, I like about this person, what he does, how he's behaving. It kind of acts like an imprint to my life as I'm growing up. So it's, and they tend to be positive role models that the kids should be going towards. But unfortunately, there could be negative role models because you know, if you look around you, whether they're watching movies, whether these are actors and actresses, whether they are singers, whether they are other artists, I think kids cannot differentiate, and whoever they find that they might like, thinking, oh, I'm going to follow this particular person, they don't sometimes realize what are they actually following, what are the qualities, what are the characteristics that they're actually trying to follow. Now, ideally, you know, you as a parent need to sit down and speak to them. For example, if they choose such a person to follow, you need to identify, okay, you've chosen that person. Why have you chosen that person? What is it that you feel that you need to follow in their footsteps, for example?
Well, you know, it just depends on who you speak to. Like if you're talking about very young people, very young kids, for very young kids, the role models would be definitely their parents. But as they grow up and they become like they're teenagers or something, and they're young, then obviously they would have you know, role models like I don't know, some maybe even a movie actor or something. And so that's what you're referring to, right? But sometimes the youngsters, you know, the youth, they need to understand that you are a Shia, you are a Muslim, so your role model, Uswa Hasana in Quran, who is he? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wa sallam. Rasulullah is your role model. Ahlul Bayt are your role model. Imam Zaman, Sahaba Zaman is your role model. So you need to look up to you know, Ahlul Bayt, to be not, for example, you know, some character in the movie. And once you do that, once you build up a relationship, like I always say, that if you build up a relationship between you and Ahlul Bayt, you and Rasulullah, you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you will see the difference. You see, you have to connect yourself and build a relationship, and it doesn't come overnight.
Exactly.
You have to work for that relationship, because everybody has a relationship with somebody. Kids have, like youngsters, you have a relationship with your brothers, you have a relationship with your mother, and you have a relationship with you know, for even with your Imam, Sahaba Zaman alayhimu salam, and you have a relationship with Rasulullah, and you have a relationship with your Creator, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the more you connect with them, the more you'll realize that your life is becoming better and better. The quality of your life, for example, it will be 100 times better than it was before. And if you think that you do have a relationship, you still need to keep on, you know, pondering over these things. For example, why do we have dua tawassul? You know, every Tuesdays at night time in Islamic centers we have dua tawassul. Why? The reason is, why did Imam Masumin alayhi salam teach us these duas? Because you're talking about role models. Our role models are actually Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. So how do we follow them? If you do not think that they're your role models, you will not be following them. So how do you follow them? If you have a relationship with them. And the best thing is that, you know, sometimes when you're in a difficulty, well, do tawassul with your Imam. You know, sit alone and you say, Ya Sahaba Zaman, Ya Imam Zaman, I'm your follower. Ya Ali, I am your follower, and I have a difficulty. And you will see that the solution will be there and it will be solved. So there's so other than that, if you just sit down somewhere in your room, you know, and you're relaxing and you're alone and nobody is watching you, talk to your Imam, talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you will see that inside, deep down, you're going to feel relaxed. And that's ala bi zikrillahi tatma'innul qulub. That's what it is, you know, that if you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you remember Ahlul Bayt alayhimu salam, and that's when you will feel the itminan. That's when you will feel that you're relaxed spiritually from inside. And once you're spiritually relaxed, that's when things will be start working out for you. You know,
Alhamdulillah,
you
yeah.
won't fight
Yeah.
with people. You'll be a non-violent person. You'll be a different person altogether, and then you will see things differently. And you will not make somebody from a movie to be your role model. You will make Sahaba Zaman to be your role model. You would want to be one of those 313 people who will who would want to die for one command of Sahaba Zaman alayhimu salam. You would want the world to change. You would want the world to be a better place.
Yeah.
So you will start seeing things differently if you make these kinds of decisions for your life. And I think it's very important, not just for youngsters. It's for everybody, for me, for you, and for anybody who's watching. That's the key issue. You have to build a relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and with Ahlul Bayt.
I think, to go back
It has
to
to be very strong.
what you're saying, obviously, our Creator has created us.
Yeah.
So He knows best who we are and how we function. He's also created the best of creation on earth as our Prophet and the Masumeen. So He's then told us that there's our role models. We need to be following them.
وَلَكُلِّ قَوْمٍ هَادٍ. Allah has sent a guide for every community, for every So that's Ayah Mubarakah. وَلَكُلِّ قَوْمٍ هَادٍ. They were created to guide us.
Yeah.
And we are created to get the guidance from them.
Exactly.
So
Okay, I think we're coming up to a break. So inshallah, we'll see you after the break.
Inshallah.